الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر.
Islam, Moors. Islam. 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 How the Moors feel this evening?
All is well.
Oh, praise Allah, praise Allah. I rise in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I give highest of praise to the Most High God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Governor of all the worlds. I give highest of honors to His Holy Divine Prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, last prophet in these days, sent to bring us the everlasting gospel. All praise is due to Allah for sending us Prophet Noble Drew Ali Islam. I give high honors to the forerunner of the Prophet, Brother Marcus Messiah Garvey, the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who is the forerunner of the Prophet. He's also the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. He is purity made manifest. Islam, Moors. I give honors to the Moorish standard, the red flag, with the 5-pointed green star in the center. Each point representing love, true peace, freedom, and justice. It is the flag of our descent, and I give high honors to the United States flag, for it is the flag of our birth, and is a constant reminder that the European nations owe you and I the Moors in compound interest. Islam. And it's looking like it's time to collect. Islam. I give high honors to the current leadership of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and uniting the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honors to the office of the Grand Governor, the Grand Sheikh, the Assistant Grand Governor, the Assistant Grand Sheikh, and I give honors to you, the Ells and Bays, and the Sacred Groves. Islam, Moors. So once again, parenting off our Assistant Grand Sheikh, happy Moorish New Year.
Happy New Year.
You know, you guys seem very excited. You know, very excited. I don't know what's going on. You know, I know, you know, as we go through life, things happen, you know, car breakdown, you know, you got into an argument, you know, things happen, but we come to the temple so we can help resolve those issues. Islam, Moors. This is where we come, that when we have issues, when we have problems, we can leave those at the door, and when we go back into the world, we are rejuvenated and reinvigorated and refreshed. Islam, Moors. All right, so come on, let's get the energy up. Islam, Moors. Islam, Moors. Islam. So I want to take a reading from the Holy Quran in the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. Islam, Moors. Know thyself in Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, life works of Jesus in India, Europe, Africa, in the land of Egypt. I'll be taking a reading from the Divine Instructions, chapter 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, and that is on page 57 in the Temple edition of the Moorish Science Temple of the Holy Quran. Say Islam when you get there.
Islam.
Islam. So I want to do something a little different when it comes to the reading of the Quran. I don't want to do all the reading today, so I want to pick one of y'all, you know, I can volunteer, and then we'll go through it. We'll go through this chapter together. Islam. So, Brother Kareem Bey, would you read the first instruction for us?
Islam. Again, instruction 1 of the holy instruction from the Prophet on misery. Correct.
Chapter 45. XLV.
Next chapter. Yeah.
All is well.
This is it.
All is well.
Okay. Divine origin of the Asiatic nation. Islam. Instruction 1. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc.
Instruction 2. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hamites and of a direct descendant of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. Sister Hayes-Bey, could you read instruction 4 and 5?
The Hindus of India, descendant of the ancient Canaanite, Hades, and the Moabites from the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nation and countries of North, South, and Central America. The Moors, American, Mexican, and North America. Brazilian, Argentinas, and Chileans in South America.
Instruction 6, Colombians, the Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador and Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad the First, the founder of the uniting of Islam, by the command of the great universal God, Allah. Islam Moors. So, the divine origin of the Asiatic nations, right? So, when you read this, you were reading off from different countries, different tribes, different nations, right? You didn't hear anything about different colors of people, right? The blacks and the browns, right? The reds. No, we weren't demonstrating that, right? But above all else, we're demonstrating nations. And so each nation has what we describe as customs. Islam Moors? We had our own customs. Each culture had its own customs, its own traditions. And so this is a perfect day for us to reflect on what our prophet brought to us, because he didn't just bring us back our nationality, but he actually brought to us a culture that is our own. And while chapter 45 shows to demonstrate how all Asiatic people generally are related to each other, right? We all had, there's a similar source in which we come from, or which we descend from. Ultimately, the descendant nature that we have splits off into their own various tribes, their own various cultures, and their own various customs. Islam Moors. And so as Moorish Americans, we have to remember that the prophet brought to us our own culture. And we, as Moorish Americans, with our own culture, our own living culture, we have to do a more thorough job at appreciating that and stop trying to mix and match different teachings with what our prophet brought to us, right? He brought to us our salvation for us, and everything that comes after that is auxiliary. It might add on, but a lot of times it ends up taking away, ends up diluted. This is a pristine doctrine that we have. This goes back to that mercy that I was talking about before. This is a pure doctrine. We don't have to add on, and we don't have to take away. The way that the prophet brought it and what he brought to us is really and truly, it is a cure for the Negro problem, and is best served in the Moorish National Divine Movement, Islam Moors. So it talks about the Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites. It talks about the Egyptians, who are the Hamites. It talks about the Japanese and the Chinese. It talks about the Hindus of India, who are the ancient Canaanites, and the ancient Hittites, Moabites from the land of Canaan. So that shows that, yes, we are related to these people, and we can appreciate the cultures that they have. It's nothing wrong with, I wouldn't say adopting, but if there's something in someone else's culture or someone else's doctrine that works for you, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't try to amalgamate, right? See, the prophet said we would not desire to amalgamate with the pale skinned nations of Europe, right? And that means a mentality, a mindset. It means physically mixing and mingling with them. But it also means more is that we don't amalgamate foreign teachings and foreign doctrines, because if it's not what the prophet brought, really and truly, it is a foreign doctrine. Islam Moors, it's a foreign doctrine. Islam. So I'll be taking a reading of chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa, and I'll read it. Instruction 1, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first descendants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the Word, Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the Father and the Son, the dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Land joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned or traveled from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human family, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today, without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Sounds familiar. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and lawful day which is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors were taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, whom they knew nothing. Islam Moors. So this goes into deeper about the customs and the cultures and our culture. You see, in this day and time, especially today on Moorish New Year's, I really want us as the Moorish Americans to take a deeper appreciation in what the Prophet brought to us. I understand, listen, just being honest with you, I understand what them other guys brought. I understand what the other brothers that came after the Prophet brought. And I respect that, because what they brought was truly, the intent of why they brought it was good. But Moors, we got to go back to the source, and we got to appreciate the source. You know, the Prophet is not, the Prophet really, in our eyes, the Prophet is not to be in the pantheon of those brothers, because he was sent by Allah himself with a divine purpose for you and I. Honors to the mother brothers. I won't call their names because I don't want to come off as radical or agitated. I don't. But I love them brothers. I love all of them. But what they brought was merely either a remix of what the Prophet brought, or they had their own ideas that they were inspired to bring, and we honor them for that. But we know that Allah ordained one and only one, and that was Prophet Noble Drew Ali, sent to save us. So all the other ideas, Moors, praise Allah. We appreciate those other ideas, right? Because some of us, we come up out of those ideas, right? I know I did. But now that we found God's band, we found Allah's true messenger, Allah's true prophet in this day and time, Moors, we got to submit to the lesson that was brought for us, Islam, Moors. Because that's how we're able to really take the benefits and benefit from those teachings that were brought. Because if we towing the line, if we tiptoeing here, we over here today, Moors, we got to come into the Moorish Science Temple of America. And we had to accept the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and stand firm on our squares and stop tiptoeing and going back and forth. Because we don't allow tiptoes in here. The Prophet wasn't no tiptoe. The Prophet stood on the Moors. The Prophet, is he swaying? Is he budging?
No, sir.
No, he's on the square.
That's right.
He's standing on the square firm with the laws. Islam, Moors.
Right.
You look in your constitution, you see he got the laws on one side and laws on the other side. And his foundation is the prayer that Allah revealed to him for us. Islam, Moors.
Right.
The day and the time with Moorish America, I'm just being honest with you. It's just what I'm compelled to say. That the days of the time of Moorish Americans tiptoeing and we here and we there, no Moors. You're either going to be here or you're going to be out there where the Prophet found you. Islam, Moors. Because the Prophet came to us so that we can have salvation, so that we can have a culture, so that we can have a name, so that we can be among the family of nations. Because every nation in the world is operating on certain principles while we're still operating on a slave mentality. See, even that is a slave mentality, to where you can't even decide and make up your mind of who or what you want to be. Islam, Moors. So we have a decision to make. We're either going to accept the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and truly come into this most beautiful, pristine institution set up for our salvation and salvation for all them brothers and sisters out there. Because when they come in, more they got to see that it's tight, and that everybody that's in here is standing on their square and is assured in their faith. Islam. They can't come in here and see us, well, where I'm here and I'm there. Nah, stand upright. Moors are men and women.
Right.
Upright, independent, and fearless. Right. They're not swaying, they're not bending, they're not capitulating, they're not bowing their head. They're standing up straight, ready to follow the Prophet to a destiny that is not unknown, no uncertain. Right. We know where we're going, Moors. Right. Now all we got to do is just be brave enough and be steadfast enough and have the conviction to actually get there. And stop trying to be in everybody else's bag, Moors. As we say today, Moors, get in your own bag. Because the Prophet brought you something that will truly save you and your people. Islam, Moors. And it won't take full effect until we truly accept it. You know, it's like that. It's like that prescription. You know, there's a prescribed amount that you have to take, right? So if it's 2 pills a day, take the 2 pills a day at the prescribed time. Don't cut the pill in half and think you're gonna get the same results. Don't dilute the message because what you were doing before made you feel good. But what is going to cure you? What is going to get rid of the ailment? You got to follow that prescription, Moors. You know, the Prophet was known as a healer. The Prophet was a healer of men. The Prophet said, I can cure you everything you were not born with. Islam, Moors. But there was something that we were born with, and that's the Negro condition. And so he's working to cure us of that. All we got to do now was just submit to the cure and let it course through our veins and let us become the cure for our people out there. Islam, Moors. So that's all I really want to demonstrate today, Moors. This is a high holy day. You know, once again, we have to take appreciation for what's ours. Because when Christmas time come around, we ain't got no problem getting excited for that. When Easter's coming up, we ain't gonna have no problem getting excited for that. You know, some of us, even though we're in the Moorish Science Temple of America, our mama, hey, Easter coming up, we gonna get suited and booted for then. We gonna be excited for Easter then, right? But Moorish New Year, yeah, you know. Prophet birthright, yeah, you know. Nah, more, this is ours. We've been complaining about how we've been treated in this country and how we don't have anything of our own in this country. Well, Moors, now you got something. Act like it. Act like somebody came to you and brought you a living culture.
That's right.
So that you can go amongst your peers and go amongst your cohorts. And when they ask you, oh, what are you? I'm a Moorish American. These are my holy days. Not holidays, but holy days. That belong to you. Islam, Moors. We can't keep playing with these teachers no more, family.
That's right.
We got a prophet, more. Look around. This is culture. We got paintings and all kind of things. More, this belongs to us, so that we can be recognized by the government that we live in and the nations of the earth. But how they gonna recognize you if you hiding? How they gonna recognize you if you playing with it? If you tiptoeing with it? No, more, be firm and be steadfast. Have conviction in what it is that you believe in, and then be bold enough to go and proclaim that to the world. Don't just proclaim it here in these four walls, so people on Facebook and on YouTube can see that you proclaim. They got to see through your actions and how you carry yourself. That's right. And they got to see how you carry yourself by what it is that you are professing. That's right. If you say you love Noble Drew Ali, if you say you love Allah and are thankful to Allah for Noble Drew Ali, Moors, there's got to be a certain level of excitement you got to have for this, Moors. Come on now. More, we were dead. Do you know what it means, Moors? I was watching the video last night, and I don't mean to take up too much time. Take time. But I was watching the video last night. You know, they got something called prison songs, right? Old Parchment Farms down in Mississippi. They got Angola Farms down in Louisiana, and they got recordings. A man named Lomax, I can't remember his first name, but he would record these prisoners, these brothers that were on the chain gang. He would record them singing work songs, Islam. And so as he's recording, you know, they're singing songs and they showing the different images of it. And on some of the images that they would show, it would say Negro men for sale, Negroes for sale. Come on, these are human beings that they call it Negroes. Right. We understand and know what Negro is and what Negro means. Islam? It means a person that is dead. And Moors, I'm just going to be honest with you. I love you. But when you come in here slouching and you come in here drowsy, Moor, you demonstrate a Negro degree. When you got a whole prophet that was given to you, Moors. We can't demonstrate Negro no more, Moors. We got to be lively. We got to step with pride and energy and be energetic when it comes to this thing. Islam, Moors. We're not Negroes. Somebody came to rescue us from that condition so that we can be, Moors, look at when Cinco de Mayo come around. Bar the European and how he act during Cinco de Mayo. Look at your Mexican brothers and sisters and how festive they become. Chinese New Year's coming up. Look how festive your Chinese brothers and sisters become, more. Look how festive they become. You know, when St. Patrick's Day come, look how festive your Gaelic brothers and sisters become. Moors, it's a holiday right now. It's a holiday right now. Where's your spirit? Where's your energy? Where's your livelihood? You got your own. Sometimes I don't think that we really understand what that means when the sheiks come up and they talk about we have our own culture. It's a living culture, right? It means this belongs to us. It's unique to us. Yeah, there are elements that are similar because Asiatics. I just read the origin of the Asiatics. So certain customs, even the way we dress, it's going to be similar across the board because we all have the same father and mother. Islam, Moors. But when it comes to the Moorish American, we have our own living culture. It belongs to us. And the people of the world are only going to respect it when we demonstrate it with enthusiasm, when we demonstrate it with energy and excitement. Like I said, Cinco de Mayo and all these other holidays and national holidays for these other groups of people are coming up, and watch how excited they become. Watch how they decorate their communities more. Watch how they go about and they almost force you to acknowledge their holidays, Moors. How many people in your circle knew what today was? Come on, More, this is truth. Truth cannot change or pass away. And it hurts. But see, that's the healing process. To know that, okay, I'm a part of something, and I gotta act like it. Not just on Fridays, not just on Sundays, not just on Wednesdays when we have our political education and our civics classes, but it has to be every single day. A Chinese man is a Chinese man when he wake up and when he go to sleep. A Cambodian is Cambodian when he wake up and when he go to sleep. Our brothers that are in Morocco are Moroccans when they wake up and when they go to sleep. I'm friends on Facebook with a brother that's from Morocco, and every single day it's Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. They got jobs and they got kids and they got spouses. All the things that you have that you think will distract you from appreciating your culture, they got and they been had. Been had it. Only difference is they don't make an excuse. They know that their culture is sacred to them. There's a sanctity that comes with that. And so they take it seriously. Islam Moors. So Moors, on our holidays, on our holy days, on things that belong to us, let's be more enthusiastic. Let's be more excited. Islam Moors. Because it belongs to us. More, we were in a slave condition where we couldn't even read. They couldn't let us have nothing, Moors. Then a prophet came to you and brought all of that back, Moors. Brought you your names back, Moors. And let's clear something up. Johnson and Cheeseburger and Rossburger, these are not slave names, Moors. These are European names. But that's why the prophet brought you your Omowale-Bey back, Moors. And respect to all those brothers, he didn't bring you no Shabazz, brother. He didn't bring you no Muhammad, brother. He brought you the Omowale-Bey. Now, if you want to use those ancient names, they're there for you because they belong to you. But the prophet brought you back the Omowale-Bey, Moors. Use it. Be proud of it, because it's yours. Leave all that other stuff behind and come into the Moorish Science Temple of America and be proud of your heritage and be proud of your culture. I just read the chapter, more. These Hindus, more, the Hindus are proud people. Huh? The Chileans are proud people. Moors, we got to be a proud people. We want to be recognized by the government that we live in, right, Moors?
That's right.
Well, how they going to recognize us if they don't even know we here? If they can't feel our presence, Islam Moors, they got to feel us. We got to make it unbearable for them. Not unbearable in a bad sense, but to the point where they know that the Moorish Americans are here. They should know that on the prophet's birthright, I mean, the whole block should be filled. Islam Moors. They know on the Moorish New Year, the whole block should be filled. Moors Islam. And that we're not making excuses. We're going to come to the temple. We're going to tear this thing up. Why? Because this belongs to us. Islam Moors. This is ours. I'm stressing it because sometimes the key to a point seeking is the repetition. To my sister, to my sisters, to my brothers. This is ours. This is ours. This is ours. We got to start acting like it, Moors. And once we start acting like it, and they take notice of that, Moors, then those friends from the other walks of life can come and say, "Hey, what do you guys got going on?" Now we building bridges and building bonds. Now we're taking a movement to the next level. But that's incumbent upon us with the energy that we put in. My brother said, if you want to be taken seriously, be consistent. We got to be consistent every Friday, every Sunday, every day with the works of the divine national Moorish movement, Islam Moorish. Consistency is key. Energy is key, because you can be consistent and be dull, but you can't be dull with this, Moors. Come on, I mean, I just want y'all to think and remember how you were before you got here. Many of you have become so much. I know I have. I can't speak for the next man or woman, but I know how I was before I came into the temple. How quick to anger I was. How submerged in the lower self I was. Ruled by my passions, Moors. But now I can go to my higher self because the prophet taught me, and being a part of my culture is to be in the higher self as much as you can be. Islam Moors. Islam. So just remember that, Moors. This is ours. This belongs to us. And once we really take advantage of that, Moors, we're going to start to see the blessings come in. We're going to start to see the finance that we want's going to come in. Because people only going to trust you if you trust you. These seats are empty, more because people don't trust themselves. They don't trust that this is really their culture. They still dibbling and dabbling and trying to find something out there in the cares of the world. Moors, the cares of the world ain't nothing but a hot, funky mess, Moors. It's a hot, funky mess, Moors. Come on to the shores of salvation and stand on that foundation. And once the nations of the world see that you on that foundation, because they on the foundation. Yeah, they going through their little spits and spats, but that's part of being a human being. You still on the planet Earth. You still on Earth. So yeah, it's going to be all kind of dysfunction. But the thing is, they're striving. Are you striving? Are you taking what you're a part of seriously. See, this can't be no costume game, boys. I don't got on no costume. The Grand Sheik don't have on no costume. This ain't no hat on my head. The brothers are not wearing hats. This is our culture. When they told you, Moors, when you were Negroes, when you were spooks, only good for working, it even had the nerve to call you lazy while you built their country, your country, and said you didn't have nothing. Your whole history started in 1774. That's where your history started, according to them. But the prophet told us that we are the mothers and the fathers of civilization and the first religious creed, Moors. I mean, if somebody like that comes to you, you've got to listen to what they have to say. Because it's a better alternative to what the other folks are saying about you. And we know that what they said is not true. So what he brings, the culture, the knowledge, the self-love, the love of self, you have to be fully submerged in that, Moors. So I'll end on this note. Coming to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Once again, we give honors to all the good brothers and sisters that came and brought their portion of the understanding. But now, Moors, and I'm not trying to be radical, but I got to almost boast about my prophet for a quick second. He didn't bring no portion, brothers and sisters. He didn't bring no portion. He brought the truth, the absolute truth. And so when you understand that, Moors, you'll take what we're doing seriously. I greet you in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, 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 Islam. Peace.